Dude, we got to make sure that this game wins Game of the Year, by the way. Do not let that Expedition game win Game of the Year. Do not let it. Absolutely do not.
You know, it's just
So
like
don't be
tickling.
cringe. Don't vote that game. Don't do
It's
it.
alright. You know, you just
Vote
sit there
Arc
taking
Raiders.
pot shots at people.
I need to get paid for the things I say, dude. I need to get paid for this
we
shit.
all
Like, I
have
give
to
out this
band
shit
together.
for free, dude, to make this game win. Us multiplayer gamers are the minority, okay? We are the minority being multiplayer gamers, but I believe we can win. Like, what, a couple million people play that game? Cool, bro. Where's the tens of millions? Where's the Marvel Rivals 50+ million people? Can suck my dick.
So that's massive content creator Shroud, who has opinions. I can't really say much about that. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, and I have opinions too, and that's what this entire video is going to be about. Opinions on the game of the year. Shroud's off-the-cuff opinion comment actually started a massive debate over that game of the year, one that actually spiraled out of control in recent days with the recent submission of a 2 of 5-star review of Arc Raiders, the game that Shroud wants to win game of the year from Eurogamer. A review that largely hinged on Arc Raiders' lazy use of AI for voice lines despite some of the game's redeeming qualities, given that the game itself is, well, about AI getting out of control. We rose up against the AI by using AI, I guess. Kind of like Outer Worlds 2 lampooning capitalism while being one of the most expensive games of the year until they actually lowered the cost. But outside of all that drama, because it is just drama, it's drama over video games, I thought we could talk a little bit about these two games and how and why I think this comes up when it comes to the Game of the Year discussion. Why multiplayer games, for example, come up, and why this idea of AI and not AI and RPGs and all of this is really coming together into this neat little compact thing of explosives. And just as a little caveat here, being Game of the Year doesn't make your game good or not good. It's just an award. That said, let's jump into it. First, let's take a brief description of both games. Expedition 33 is a game that will make you cry in a good way and a lot, like a whole lot, like a whole lot, like an ocean of tears worth of crying. It's a JRPG with a few adaptations in its systems, like a dodge and parry mechanic, as well as QTEs in their turn-based formula. It's not a JRPG with a ton of choice, it's kind of linear actually, but the choice you do make is pretty freaking earth-shattering, and we are still months later having discussions over which was the right decision to make. It's held up by engaging combat, incredible story, fantastic human performances, beautiful art direction, and phenomenal music. It was made by a small development team and jumped into the forefront of the Game of the Year discussion after launch, overtaking standout titles like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and withstanding heralded releases like Death Stranding 2 and the long-awaited Silk Song.
Watch out, my Al.
Parry this. Damn it!
Here we go.
So here's the thing, what if I didn't parry? It wasn't until the release of the PvEVP extraction shooter that launched this real discussion online that burgeoned over a true contender to Expedition 33's anointment as the Game of the Year, months out from the award, Arc Raiders. Arc Raiders is a new game in a crowded genre, the PvEVP extraction genre, a genre that actually struggles to maintain player bases, with games like Dark and Darker and Escape from Tarkov standing out as rare successes, and the former of those actually kinda losing most of its steam when it went through a whole copyright issue and really lost most of its player base. Both of those games though leaned very heavily into the PvP aspect of the game, heavily focused on the genre's brutality and the cutthroat nature of it. Arc Raiders, on the other hand, chose a bit of a different path, instead leaning much more into a challenging PvE metagame without nearly as much friction between players. Extractions are not limited to single players or teams, as you can fully extract as a group. You don't have to kill people when extracting. You can all extract together. Cover me, cover me.
We're trying.
Okay, this is repaired. Oh,
Okay.
shit.
Pick up the key right here. Fuck.
Cover me.
I'm trying, bro. I'm trying.
Okay, it's unlocked.
Open
it's
the
unlocked.
hatch. Okay, go. Everybody going. Hurry.
I'm trying.
Bro. Oh my god. Oh, no way. No. Bro, I have the purple gun. Oh. Bro, you fucking hoes. This damn arc, bro. Piece of shit.
There are multiple extraction points throughout the game and multiple PvE objectives using a quest-based system, making the whole game feel more reminiscent of a micro MMORPG than an extraction shooter. PvE enemies are legitimately terrifying, like this shit.
Oh shit, Leaper! Oh my god. I'm calling it! Go! Oh my god, everybody get in! Oh my god. GG's, guys. Bro.
And the game is much more accessible than some other titles in the genre, where sweaty PvP players tend to dominate, or you need a PhD in bullet physics to manage. It's been described pretty accurately as Tarkov for employed people. All in all, it's a really solid game. I've played it and I've enjoyed it. But for a lot of people, myself included, there's a catch, a stupid catch, one that's completely unnecessary that really leaves a bad taste in your mouth after playing the game: the use of AI. And this was highlighted in the aforementioned Eurogamer review. Quote, a smartly designed extraction shooter marred by one inexcusable decision. That inexcusable decision is the use of generative AI to replace human voice actors while trading off of their voices. And for many, myself included, this is a frustrating and lazy misstep from a company eager to save money but not create a better product. The reason Embark has given for using this optional AI TTS to replace human voices, or the callouts that are also trained off of the voice actors they use, is that it would just be too arduous of a task to bring in voice actors to record every line. This reasoning that they've given for the TTS, yes, I can't really see how that would work otherwise. But it's just too many permutations. But the other lines, callouts like wires here, is just laziness by the company, especially considering many voice actors have access to home studios and can just record those lines at home and send them in. This all in a game that makes a lot of use of human to human interaction. In fact, I would argue that part of why this game has been so successful is all the stories of players like working together, or players working together and then betraying each other, players having human to human social interactions in the game, just talking to each other. That's called in. Fuck.
Come on. Don't be those guys. Alright, we're chilling over here.
You're good.
Hey, what up? How do you do this shit, bro? This is like my first game. How you do what? I don't know. What are like the basics of this shit?
What the fuck? Oh shit, we just took each other out.
Nah, we don't play those games, yo.
And this is where it gets weird because it's just not necessary. It doesn't actually add that much to the game. And yet it makes a whole lot of conversation around something that shouldn't be the focus of the game. This could have been completely avoided by just not doing it. I can't speak for anyone else but me, but because I care so much about the actors, the performers that put so much effort and time and passion into the games I love, especially RPGs, most recently like Baldur's Gate 3 and Expedition 33, it's disqualifying for me for a game of the year if a game uses AI to replace them because it's just lazy. There's no need for it. It's inauthentic and it's just a cost-cutting thing. It doesn't make the game any better. And I think that's one of the key things that I want to push forward here. This isn't improving the game. It's actually actively making it worse. The callouts sound very bland. They're not very good. It's really just to save money for the company, and that's the only thing. They could have very easily just used some partial human voice acting and then be done with it. There is no need for them to go this route, and then we could have been talking more about how they have tried to refine the extraction genre and less about this use of Gen AI. Now, when we talk about the TTS, I think there is a bigger argument and consideration there when you consider this idea of this being something for accessibility, for having people because there's so much social interaction in this game, using voice and having an ability to do so. But the way that it works, just really morphing your own voice doesn't really change much. And we already had pitch changers like for decades. And this, of course, is not the first time that this company, Embark, has had issues with AI because they did it with the finals by having Gen AI announcers because I guess they couldn't hire announcers like, you know, NBA 2K has been doing for a long time. For a game that is so focused on the overarching story of man versus machine that is made best through its human interaction, people talking and working together or even betraying each other, a game smartly designed around creating those organic human-to-human interactions, this feels stupid. On par with the highest level executive decision by someone who has deeply invested in some AI stocks, wanting to shove it into everything to make their investment worth it, to show that yes, we really are using it. But I guess at least it's not as bad as Call of Duty, which just put in a prompt. Ugh. Jesus. Those human-to-human interactions, as well as the ease with which you can play Arc Raiders, are what make it special, which actually brings us to the next part, and takes us back to Shroud in this argument over the game of the year.
To make this game win, us multiplayer gamers are the minority, okay? We are the minority being multiplayer gamers, but I believe we can win. I believe. You just need to tell everybody. I've never voted for anything ever, but I think I'm going to vote this year for this game. I just think single player games always win game of the year, and it's bullshit.
And that is one of the big debates that this has brought up about multiplayer games not winning that award over single player games. And while to a point, I do get it. After all, I have an entire channel dedicated to MMORPGs and shared world RPGs, and even created my own game awards called the Scuffed Game Awards to better recognize MMORPGs as well as RPGs. But you cannot extricate one key ingredient that makes multiplayer games good: people. Rightly or wrongly, I think this will always take away from their ability to win the highest award for two reasons. Gaming does not have to be social to be good, but multiplayer games require being social to be good. I want to add some clarifications here because that doesn't just mean being friendly with people. That means a competitive multiplayer requires human interaction, and those human interactions are essentially what makes the game playable. A multiplayer game without players is a dead game. The players themselves are often doing a lot of the heavy lifting of making the game and the experience itself fun, something that a single player RPG or a roguelike can't do. I think it's completely fair to hold those games that stand on their own at a higher standard in this specific award, requiring an even better multiplayer game to overcome that, because the multiplayer game has that little ounce of extra from having other players. And to be fair, Arc Raiders does a lot to get there. They've done a lot more on the PvE side of things, and even on the PvP side of things, than a lot of multiplayers. But there is a reason why Fortnite and Call of Duty don't win every year despite their popularity. Multiplayer games make up 10% of the Game of the Year awards at 1 out of 10. Or 20% if you include co-op, since It Takes Two won in 2021. For a multiplayer game to rise above its very nature of being bolstered by the players themselves into the game itself, I think it has to be exceptional, and I'll happily say that Arc Raiders comes close, even if I personally have come to find its gameplay loops a bit repetitive and a bit boring, even without the unnecessary shadow of Gen AI. I think that's more of a personal thing for me, being bored with that repetition, than like the game not being good. Expedition 33 stands out for its ability to evoke emotion through its story and its gameplay. The story grabs your heart from the prologue and doesn't let go throughout the whole game. But beyond that, the gameplay itself gives players the highs and lows of landing or missing dodges and parries, engaging them in thrilling moment-to-moment gameplay that complements the slower moving story in a beautiful push and pull that leaves an epic experience that I can't personally say has been topped by many games I've ever played. And for me, and just my silly little YouTuber opinion in this room, this really bland ass room, Expedition 33 is the runaway winner of Game of the Year this year, just because it seems to do so many things right. It does things right in the gameplay, it does things right in the story, and it makes you feel like a wide gamut of emotions. And it does all of this. It doesn't necessarily like innovate on anything crazy, but it does all this by being reasonably priced and very accessible. So I think that makes this game kind of stand up and elevated over a lot of others. I think other games like Hades 2, KCD 2, Death Stranding 2, and Split Fiction are all likely to be contenders with Expedition 33, probably more so than Arc Raiders. We're gonna find out on Monday what the nominees are from the Game Awards, so we'll see if I'm right on that one. But you know, who knows, I've been surprised before. Whoa, fucking shit! Is that necessary? But now that you've listened to me yammer a lot, I want to hear from you. What is your Game of the Year this year? Thank you so much for watching. My name is Redford Flynn, and I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day.
We're gonna go try this and see what happens. This could be the dumbest thing I've done so far.
Stop! 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 Just stop! 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 What the hell? What is your speed? What?